I said this earlier, but the Lakers sale, for those of you that didn't hear, yesterday the news broke, Shams Charania had it first, that the Los Angeles Lakers, were being sold by the Buss family, the children of Jerry Buss, at a $10 billion evaluation. $10 billion. And it wasn't sitting with me right. Something about it just made me feel like, I don't think it was illegal. I don't think it was immoral. It just didn't feel like the appropriate thing to have happen. So much so that I went and did some digging, and I learned some of the financials. The new owner, Mark Walter, had already owned 26%, so he was already a minority owner. The Buss family owned 66%. They are selling what appears to be all 66 of that. There were some reports that they were going to hold back 15. Maybe they'll do that. But with 6 children of Jerry Buss, that would mean they would each get 11% of the sales, which would put them each over like 1.1, 1.2 billion, which would pretty much independently make, I know a ton of taxes would come out of it and stuff, but based on how much they've been cashing out of the Lakers, the report I read from somebody, I don't know, some financial online person, would basically say that it would turn each of Jerry Buss's children into an independent billionaire. They would have just liquid $1 billion. That's pretty cool. Okay, so even that, I read it and I went, I could see why it's more difficult to manage a team when there's 6 people that all think they should have input and all of these other things. I know Jeannie Buss was the quote-unquote governor, but they all owned part of it, and maybe for the health of their family. But I still went, no, I don't like it. I don't like it. So I went and I searched some more, and I heard things like this from Shams Charania, who broke the news on why the Buss family is selling now.
10 billion reasons why. And like I said, Jeannie Buss and the Buss family seemed like they were poised to keep this team forever. And there are 2 executives there, actually, that are Buss family members. It's the Buss brothers, Joey and Jesse Buss, that are known in NBA circles as really rising executives in that front office, even as part of ownership. So for the family to now sell for $10 billion, it's an astronomical figure. It's something that, of course, is now going to set an immensely high bar. You think about it, they're the largest sold franchise in sports history in the world. And that includes soccer teams, football, or should I say football teams abroad. That includes NBA teams, MLB teams, anything in the world. $10 billion. 10 billion reasons why.
Okay. But I think even that's an issue. Here's my entire thing, what it boils down to. I don't like thinking of sports teams as investments. I don't like thinking of sports teams as another part of your portfolio. And I think during the heydays, when the popularity was building for all of this, it wasn't that. It was either something that your family had built. Your great-great-grandfather got together with 10 other dudes in a bar and decided they were going to start a league because they all had a little bit of scratch in their pocket, and they all put in $5,000, and a century later their grandson was worth billions because of it, but it was still the thing that you got from your grandpa. The Busses, they didn't own it because it looked good in their portfolio. Matter of fact, they probably owned it and at times felt frustrated because they're like, we're billionaires, but we aren't liquid billionaires, so we have to live like 100 millionaires. Which sounds ridiculous, but it's that. Or I even like, and this is where it probably gets a little gray area. I like Steve Ballmer as an owner of the Clippers. Not because he's not just as rich as this Mark Walter, not because he didn't, I don't know, everything else I've been complaining about, but you can tell he just loves the Clippers. You can, like, he's cheering. He lives and dies with them. When they win, he's in a good mood. When they lose, he's in a bad mood. I don't like that the leagues pretty much have to allow venture capital or hedge fund money to help teams, help owners basically survive because it's such a gigantic number to own a team. I don't like that. And the hard part is, this is probably overwhelmingly a good thing for the Lakers. They will likely win more because this new ownership takes over rather than the Busses. And Brian Windhorst, ESPN insider, pretty much explains that right here on why the new ownership could allow them more resources.
The Lakers operate with a small infrastructure. They do not operate like a lot of other teams. And I would only suspect that the modernization of the Lakers is about to come. And if I were another team, I would not think this is a great development. I think the Lakers are only going to get more dangerous as an organization with the more resources that are, theoretically here about to be poured into it.
That's the other thing that happens with the family-owned teams is when you didn't make way more money than your team is worth in some other business, you are actually treated as cash poor as an owner, which means luxury taxes hit you harder. You can't afford to go build a stadium and then have that be a gigantic part of the money-making within your ownership group. Mark Cuban has talked a lot about how the team isn't even how owners make their money anymore. What the way that owners are looking to make their money is they go buy a boatload of real estate, then build a stadium with the team right in the middle of it, and suddenly all that real estate around it goes way up in value, and you can put high-rises and entertainment complexes and everything else there because the team is drawing everybody to that part of town, and now you're a billionaire. And if you don't have the money to make all that happen because you didn't make all your money in hedge funds or in some other business, you didn't invent the next greatest social media app, you get bullied. You get big chip stacks by everybody else at the table in the NBA or in the NFL or in Major League Baseball. And as I said earlier, I think this comes back to what I have frustrations with David Tepper of the Carolina Panthers. Football at 4 is where it goes football. I wrote down some bullet points about the life of David Tepper. Born and raised in Pittsburgh, went to the University of Pittsburgh, went to grad school at Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh. He has worked professionally, according to his Wikipedia, never lies, Ohio, Boston, New York City. He based his hedge fund in Miami. He lives in New Jersey, where he's been ranked as the richest man in New Jersey multiple times. For a decade, he was a partial owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, yet he owns the Carolina Panthers. Since buying the Panthers in 2018, they have compiled a record of 36-80. And they've had 7 head coaches in that span. Now, here's the weird part. That's an awful span for an owner. But I would be more sympathetic if I believed that David Tepper, at any point in his life before he owned the Panthers, would be really bummed out that the Panthers went 36-80. But I don't. Matter of fact, I'm not even 100% sure he's not just excited that ownership values have gone up. And you hear this in baseball all the time because they don't have a salary cap and small market teams just don't spend. And you hear like, why would the Pittsburgh Pirates owner care that they stink and they're going to lose Skeens and they're going to lose O'Neal Cruz? All he does is keep cashing checks and revenue share. That's what you don't like about it. I'm not asking you to operate at a loss. I'm not asking you to cook the books in a way that you don't make any money. I'm asking that the ownership, family, group, whatever, become part of the community. Live here. And if you don't want to, cool, just don't buy the hometown team, right? Mark Walter, that just bought the Lakers, also owns the Dodgers, also owns the Sparks, also owns a Formula One team, also owns, I believe, the entire professional women's hockey league, also owns 12.8% of a holding company that owns Chelsea, the European soccer club, and RC Strasbourg, another European soccer club. I don't know if the Lakers stink. He's still got 6 other chances to win a championship this year, right? To go up on stage, hold the trophy, and give a speech. I don't like it. I understand that, if I don't want to do something about it, I guess I'd have to go make a couple triple, third, $10 billion and then go spend it on a team and be super invested. And yeah, you know what? Tell me how. Tell me how, and I will. You don't have to agree with everything the Buss family did. Matter of fact, if you go watch Winning Time on HBO, the 2-season dramatic retelling basically of how Buss became Buss, Jerry Buss that is, you might think he's not a great dude, or you might think that he doesn't deserve all the praise that he's being given. That's fine, but you can't tell me he didn't care if the Lakers won. You can't tell me that. He absolutely did. And I think his family did too, if only for, Dad would have liked us to win. I don't know if Mark Walter will. I know he believes in the money-making power of sports, and he likes having a portfolio that is filled with teams. The way he's handled the Dodgers is business-wise genius. Right, all the deferred money and right, Shohei's not getting paid more than $2 million a year, but then suddenly 10 years in the future it's going to be $30 million a year until he's 60. I don't even know the structure of it. Right, he's a good business guy. I just don't know if he loves sports the way the fans do, and unless the owner is as crushed as the fans, we're never going to give you any sympathy. Right, the off-season Hard Knocks for the Giants, where the GM is talking about not re-signing Saquon, and the owner says if he goes somewhere in the division, if he goes to Philly, I'm not going to sleep well. Fans were like, yeah, Mara's one of us. And then, of course, he went to Philly, and Mara's not sleeping well, and everyone piled on the GM. I just don't know if – I think Walter's sleeping good. And I don't think Jerry Buss did after losses by the Lakers. That's my point. I don't think Tepper loses a ton of sleep when Bryce Young throws an interception. And because of that, I really don't like that he's had 7 head coaches since he took over.
Yeah.
He's not impatient. He's not a good owner.
You'd hope at least he's losing a little more sleep than a guy who owns 6 teams.
Maybe. But also, if it's easier to track the bottom line of one team. And Tepper's net worth is in the 20 or 30 billion. He paid $2 billion for the it's like a car for most of us, right? If my car's in the shop, I'm bummed, but I'm not letting it ruin my year. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm not saying the previous owner was any better. I'm just saying I want somebody that cares.